Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to do a little update on the M2 money supply and what is happening with it as it's breaking through all-time highs. And are we about to see crypto, and specifically Bitcoin, follow the M2 money supply and have a big explosion to the upside, despite the fact that it doesn't feel like that's possible at the moment. All right. So if you like today's video, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and let's jump on in. So if you haven't been following the channel, we talk about the M2 money supply a lot. We've been talking about it for the last few months. We've been talking about the fact that it has been rising for the last couple weeks, right? And really actually the last like 2 months or so, we've seen the M2 money supply absolutely explode to new all-time highs. And the question is, why isn't Bitcoin, which is the bottom here, price following the M2 money supply, which is the top yellow line here, to the upside, right? And there's a lag to it, right? And I think, when we look back at this and we look at since really 2022, is the Bitcoin price follows the M2 money supply. It's just lagged behind, right? So I want to take you guys through this today and show you guys this a little bit deeper. We've talked about this on the channel many times, many live streams. We went over this. A lot of you guys think this is super cool. So, if we just look at where price is, right? Obviously, we've had, about a 30% pullback on Bitcoin, and that was met with up here the same time that the M2 money supply also had this pullback, right? Now, what I did is I took this M2 money supply and moved it over by about 2 months, right? So about 2 months into the future, right? So we moved this 2 months because the M2 money supply leads Bitcoin price by a little bit, right? You could make the case it's a couple weeks. You can make the case it's a couple months. But on average, I've noticed it's about 2 months that Bitcoin price lags behind M2 money supply. And we're going to use that today to maybe predict when Bitcoin could also see this explosion to the upside and possibly into new all-time highs, the same as M2 money supply is doing now. So if we just look at it, and I'm going to show you guys this, right? If we just go back in the past, a lot of times, we mark the major turning points in M2 money supply is also the major turning points in Bitcoin, right? So M2 money supply goes into a massive bear market here, right? Less liquidity in markets. Obviously, Bitcoin, was already in the middle of a bear, but had the biggest significant downside after M2 money supply came down, right? Also, we look at the bottom here in 2022, right? FTX lows, M2 money supply hit a low, right? Bitcoin also hit a low, M2 money supply moved up. About 2 months later, you saw Bitcoin also move from about 15,000 to about 30,000. So a 2x move on Bitcoin as M2 money supply also moved up, right? Just with a 2 month lag. Remember, M2 money supply, we moved it over by 2 months into the past. So, or into the future, right? It's a leading indicator. April 2023, right? M2 money supply tops out right over here. Bitcoin also tops out, okay? M2 money supply goes down until about, I think it was about October 2023. And when Bitcoin also moves down to that point right about here. Now here, you guys can see that we did have M2 money supply go down, M2 money supply go down. Bitcoin started to move up without M2 money supply right here. That was mainly because you had the ETF narrative, right? ETFs, a lot of people get hype with ETFs. Bitcoin moved up. M2 money supply actually moved up a little bit later than Bitcoin in that circumstance, right? But you can see Bitcoin didn't have a pullback after the ETF hype wore out. M2 money supply started to move up right about here. And Bitcoin, after about a 25% pullback here, also went up to the upside, right? And Bitcoin went on like 38,000 to about 73, another 2x move to the upside. Then what happens? Another turning point, right? M2 money supply tops out right about here, goes sideways / down for, this was about 6 months. And that was the same time that Bitcoin had this 6-month correction here right into about September. What you'll notice is, once again, M2 money supply bottoms out 2 months before BTC. Bitcoin bottoms out here in September 2024. And then once again, what do we get? Same pattern. Bitcoin goes up, does about a 2x move from that point as M2 money supply moves up 2 months before BTC. Bitcoin also tops at that exact point 2 months prior. Okay. Then what happens again, right? It's the same process, guys. M2 money supply goes down for a few months. We've seen Bitcoin go down for a few months. Now, here is where we're currently at. And I'm just going to put another line here for another possible turning point. What you guys can see here is M2 money supply, if we put this 2 months into the future, hit a low somewhere around this end of March period. And you guys can see that M2 money supply has exploded out of here and is already into new all-time highs, right? The amount of money in the markets globally is in new all-time highs. But yet Bitcoin has not moved yet. And if we look at this, we can say with, pretty good odds, right? Obviously nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in this markets and, whatever. But with pretty good odds, can we see Bitcoin find a low somewhere around the time that the global money supply found a low, 2 months, just 2 months after, which would put it somewhere, around the time period. Doesn't mean it has to go lower, right? This was kind of a double bottom for M2 money supply, but can Bitcoin go sideways, maybe even chop around here for another few weeks until the end of March, and then get that follow point, just like you saw right here in M2 money supply, to the upside, breaking new all-time highs? Can you then have Bitcoin coming up and once again following M2 money supply and putting in new all-time highs? All right. That's what we're going to ask ourselves. And that's what this chart has shown, the obvious, just same thing that's going on, right? It's pretty much the same thing that's going on. Global liquidity goes down, Bitcoin goes down. Global liquidity goes up, Bitcoin goes up, just with a 2-month lag. So global liquidity now in new all-time highs. Is Bitcoin about to follow that, albeit still maybe a few weeks of weakness? Is Bitcoin about to follow that into new all-time highs? Seems like pretty good odds, right? And, nothing's guaranteed. And there's a few things that we can use for maybe, to say maybe this won't work out, right? We can go look at the 50-week moving average for Bitcoin, right? And say that, if we just look at the history of Bitcoin, whenever Bitcoin has got a weekly close below that 50-week moving average, the bull market has been over and you have entered a bear market. We can see right now, without a shadow of a doubt, right? Facts only, no bull crap, right? We got M2 money supply moving up, maybe about 2-3 more weeks of Bitcoin chopping sideways, but we happen to be right at that 50-week moving average band. Just like we were here in August and September of 2024, and just like we were down here in August and October of 2023. Right, that 50 moving average band that marked the lows. Here we are again, right in here. So can we use this and say that as long as Bitcoin holds above the 50-week moving average band for the next 2 to 3 weeks, if it can sustain above, can we get Bitcoin to follow the M2 money supply into new all-time highs? I think that is a pretty good bet. And there's an obvious invalidation point of a weekly close below the 50-week moving averages, which would be a weekly close below about 75,000. It's a very interesting point in the market here, guys. I think there's a lot of opportunity to make a lot of freaking money right now. This also goes into the altcoin market, but we're going to, make this video strictly about Bitcoin today. But, a lot of awesome things going on in the market right now. Very big turning point in markets, massive fear in the fear and greed index, right at the 50-week moving averages. I'm not going to have any bias here. My bias, the data shows upside, right? M2 money supply going up, I'm expecting Bitcoin to go up, but I'm not going to be biased. As soon as we get any type of weekly closure below that 50-week moving average band, things are getting a little bit different, and things are looking more like how they have whenever we've broken that 50-week moving average band, like here in January 2022, right here. Or in May of 2018, right here, right? So big area. We can also look at total market cap. I've been watching this chart like crazy. You might be looking at this and saying, this looks freaking crazy, Jordan. There is no way this could happen, right? There is no way that we could bounce from this trend line again, right? Total market cap of crypto. COVID lows. September 2023 lows, August 2024 lows. We zoom in a little bit. Here we are again, right at that trend line, right? Forming what I think, right? Just my opinion. I could totally be wrong, and I have an invalidation, like I said, guys. Those 50-week moving averages on Bitcoin. Could we see that final blow off top up to the top of this giant rising wedge for what would be the final blow off top before the giant bear market heading into 2026? The biggest bear market we've seen, in my personal opinion. Could we be setting up for something like that? Following M2 money supply, which is looking to go absolutely parabolic to the upside, will we see Bitcoin follow up to the mid 150Ks? And altcoins follow, which we'll talk about in a further video here. Exciting times in the market, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are we about to follow M2 money supply into new all-time highs by the end of March, right? What I mean by that is the move starts by the end of March, not ends by the end of March, but starts by the end of March. Let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know in the comment section. I'd love to know what you guys think, right? Now, in the next video I'm about to make, we're going to talk about altcoins and how, for the total altcoin market, look at a bunch of altcoin charts, where we are. Ethereum, where are we at? Is it any different than last cycle? We're going to take a look, data-driven. But I think this chart and a lot of things about Bitcoin right now is Bitcoin is at a very important point. But I think we have data that suggests that as long as we stay above the 50 moving average bands, I'm expecting Bitcoin to go into new all-time highs by this summer. All right. So like the video if you guys haven't. Subscribe to the video. Well, subscribe to the channel, not the video. Who says subscribe to the video? I don't know. Only me, I guess. Only me or my weird ways says subscribe to the video, guys. But a lot of awesome times in the market, a lot of fear in the market right now at such a critical juncture in the markets. It really is the time where you make a crap load of money during these times, or you lose a crap load of money during these times, right? It's really up to the way that you interpret the market at the moment. But, as Warren Buffett likes to say, you buy the fear and you sell the greed. And obviously right now we are in that fear period where we've seen Bitcoin in the past. All right. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out. Much love. M2 money supply bottoming out around the end of March. So we got a few more weeks of chop for Bitcoin and then new all-time highs. Let's find out, fellas. Peace out.